Hi there, this is Carrie with Co.lective. You can find us at lective.co. And today we're going to talk about trade shows and specifically what to expect when you're exhibiting for your first few trade shows. So it's summertime and fall is when all the brands debut their spring collections at all the major shows across the country. So what are those shows across the country? It starts with August in Las Vegas. That's Magic, Project Pool. It takes up the entire strip from the Mandalay Bay up to the Convention Center. It's in late August, followed by September in New York. That starts about a week and a half after Fashion Week concludes, and that includes Coterie, DNA, Capsule, a whole bunch of others. And then regionally in October, you'll find them in Los Angeles, Dallas, and pretty much wherever you are across the country. So congrats if it's one of your first few trade shows and you decided it's time to take your brand out there and start getting exposure. That's a really big deal. Very excited for you. It's a very big investment. It's a big decision. And so one of the most important things you can do to ensure success in your trade show, not only in preparation, is knowing what to expect. This is how you can set realistic returns on investment goals and how you can really just set yourself up for success. So number one, let's look at it from the buyer's perspective. Buyers walk these shows, they spend maybe the whole 3 days, maybe they only go for 1 day. But number one rule for a buyer is if I'm going to go to one of these trade shows, I'm going to spend the bulk of my time, at least half if not more, working with the brands that I already do business with. Now, buyers know who their big brands, who their money makers are in their stores. And they're trained by these brands that every August or September in Vegas or New York, they go and they write their upcoming holiday deliveries, their spring deliveries. Maybe they'll fill in what they've already ordered. They spend a lot of time doing business and a lot of money writing business with these brands whom they already do business with at these major trade shows. So with that tip in mind, if you already are doing business with a handful of accounts, maybe 10, a dozen accounts, these are the types of buyers who will likely come see you and spend money with you at your upcoming trade show. So that's a really good tip. It's a good idea before you invest the $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 in a big show to probably have maybe 10 or 12 accounts, because then you know you'll have appointments. Or it's a really good idea to start kind of locally with those smaller shows in the areas where you are, because those shows may only cost you $1,000 or $2,000, maybe even a little less, sometimes just a little bit more. But that's a great way to get in front of your local buyers. There's only maybe 100 brands who are also showing, so you have a really good attention span for your buyers. So if they already do business with you, they will come right with you at your trade show. But if they don't do business with you, if this is a cold call, if it's a, hey, I'll stop by and come see your booth, it's really hard for buyers to go see everyone who calls them. So get some accounts first before investing in your first trade shows. It's a really good idea. So with that said, buyers spending half to more of their time working with the brands, spending a lot of time with the brands whom they already do business with, that means that less than half of the time, maybe 1 day, maybe half a day, maybe a day and a half, they can actually browse around and look for new things that they can write small little orders for to fill in their store now, maybe cute little impulse buys. But otherwise, they're going to be shopping around, gathering information for them to take back to their offices with them to research and potentially write orders with later. So that's another thing to expect from buyers at trade shows, is if you're not already working with them, they will more likely gather information from you, and it's up to you to follow up with them later to make your money happen after the trade show concludes. So these trade shows often become really good exposure, really good business card generators, lead generators. These are buyers who you may never even have met before. Maybe you never even knew their store existed because they're in a totally different region from you, and they walked by your booth and they gathered your information. They maybe took a few notes on things that they liked, But in most circumstances, they're going to take that information back to their offices and kind of figure out who did I like, who is better, who really fits within our budget, how much budget do we have left. And then they're going to look to place orders in the weeks following the trade shows. So that means you need to have a lot of print collateral ready to give away. You not only need your business cards and postcards, but it's a really good idea to spend some money on some really good-looking lookbooks that they can pull and remember you later. So being that buyers will often gather information during these shows, there can be a lot of busy times where everyone's in your aisle, everyone's stopping, you don't have enough staff, and there can honestly be a lot of downtime in trade shows, and these are things that you just can't plan on. And so what you can plan on is how you fill your time during these downtimes that are inevitably going to happen, even during the largest trade show. Now, you can't control who walks down your aisle and how many people walk down your aisle, or if anyone even stops in your booth. But what you can control is how you look to those people who do walk by and do eventually stop in your booth. And what you don't want to look is pouty and depressed because no one's walking down your aisle. That's going to be the quickest deterrent for everyone to just keep on walking. No one wants to walk into a sad, pouty booth because that designer, that brand, is upset that there's just not the traffic they thought there would be. Never be pouty and sad. Keep yourself busy. Take videos, shoot photos, do all this cool marketing collateral that even if nobody stopped by your booth whatsoever, after the show's done, you look like you had a super busy show. There's a lot to be said to faking it till you make it. Because if buyers who said they would stop but didn't stop, if you can follow up with them afterward and show them really cool photos of new things, new clothing that you launched, new styles, maybe some cool videos that you took, you look like you had an amazing show, you really worked on filling your time by creating a lot of marketing material, then they might be, hey, sorry we missed your booth. Actually, let's schedule a follow-up appointment because you filled your time. You looked busy. You made sure you had a dynamic booth that you could record and document so that following the show, you can put that out there and let buyers know, hey, look what you missed. So that's a huge rule of thumb to fill your downtime. Now, another really important thing that you would never know unless you actually, exhibit at a trade show is most of these shows do a good job of offering you internet access, but a lot of them, that internet is very unreliable. And this isn't the show producer's fault. It's only because so many people are jumping on this network at the exact same time that inevitably the wireless internet that they promised you will be excruciatingly slow or it'll just go down. Even the highest tech companies I've seen being like, I don't have any internet, I just can't show you this. So don't plan on filling that impending downtime that you're going to have with, updating your social media, unless you can obviously do that from your phone. But be prepared that internet access is likely, even at the most tech-savvy show, it's likely to go down at some point. And again, that's not the show producer's fault. It's because everyone's jumping on this network at one time and it gets slow or it just completely goes down. So there's so much that can happen at a show. Barney's and Saks Fifth Avenue can walk by and write the biggest order in the world, but in all reality, it's going to be an exposure machine for you. You want to gather business cards and take notes of how you can follow up with each of these buyers after the show, because during your first few shows, that's when your business is most likely going to happen in the days and weeks following the show. So, gather your information, follow up with them afterward, make your money back afterward with the time and the follow-up following the show, your appointments, etc. So there's a lot to expect. There's an awful lot to prepare for. A good rule of thumb for pricing and what it's going to cost you to participate in the show is if it's local and you don't have to travel and you can bring in your own stuff, you're going to save a lot of money and the actual cost of the booth will be about the cost of your show, plus some marketing material and maybe some rentals to build your booth out. But if you have to travel and you have to ship things in for your show, you probably need to take the actual booth fee that you're paying and times that by 2 and even 3 to get your actual budget for what you're going to spend at the show. These shows are expensive, and it does honestly take a couple shows for buyers to be like, hey, I saw them last time. They followed up with me. I'm ready. Let's go see them. So I hope you have a really great season. All the really great trade shows are coming up. If you're just getting started, highly recommend invest your money in your local shows first, because you can work your kinks out there, you can meet with your local buyers, you can gain some accounts before spending the big bucks in the big shows. So there's so much more to come. Check us out at lective.co. We have a really cool industry buzz page, lots of modules you can download. I'm available for consultations, and hope to see you later. Have a great season.